Hello, my friends. Like you, I have been playing a lot of Nintendo Switch over its first 5 months. Yes, we are nearing the 6-month mark for the Nintendo Switch, and it's already sold 5 million units around the world. It's a smash success. People still are having trouble finding these things. Nintendo can't make enough, which is a problem, but I guess it's a pretty decent problem for Nintendo to have. So I thought it'd be a good time to kind of evaluate where the console is now. I can tell you that I unabashedly love this machine. I think it's one of the best Nintendo consoles so far, and it really kind of delivers on that promise of portability and also a fine home console system, and there already are a lot of great games. Now, I'm going to talk about 5 of my favorite eShop games, or games that you can collect in the eShop. There are also physical releases as well, but these are 5 games that you can buy today that I keep going back to that are not published by Nintendo, and they're not going to be Fast RMX and not going to be Snipper Clips, which was also published by Nintendo. I actually like the NBA Playgrounds a little bit. It wasn't great, but there was some cool stuff in there. It's not the Ultra Street Fighter 2 game, which is also still fun, but, you know, not enough for the price. And it's definitely not the 4 biggies from Nintendo. It's not Zelda, it's not ARMS, it's not Splatoon 2, and it's not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. All of those are worth picking up or definitely looking at, and the less said about 1-2 Switch, the better. But I wanted to talk about 5 other games that you can find for the Nintendo Switch that are definitely worth your time, you know, and I think it's clear that we can say that we would want more titles for the Nintendo Switch, and my hope is that lots of AAA publishers and lots of other developers, indie developers and developers of every scale are looking at this machine and saying, yes, this is a fantastic, viable system. Let's make some really cool software for this, because I love the ability to play my games on the go and also plug my system in and play it at home. And I've been getting a lot of enjoyment out of this platform, and I want it to be a success. But here are 5 other games that I want to talk about. One of them is called Blaster Master Zero from Inti Creates, which is a remake of the old Sunsoft game for the NES, which I loved, and I played that incessantly back in the day. And I keep going back to this on the Switch. I think this is a wonderful remake. It's almost like a Metroid experience, but you also get to drive a tank that can hover and has all kinds of cool abilities that you unlock, and it's the same kind of principle. You have to retraverse into areas and, you know, sneak into crevices that you couldn't before, blast open openings and doorways that you had trouble with before, but now you've got the weaponry for them, and you sneak through the environments, blast all kinds of bad guys, and then you can hop out of your tank and also jump into these sort of boss fights and mazes and things that you go and you collect all kinds of new weaponry and armaments and unlock mysteries that keep progressing the story along. Very elegantly crafted, very fun, cool experience. It is definitely worth a pickup, I think. If you're into the old retro style of gameplay, you're going to dig Blaster Master Zero quite a bit. Another great game that has translated perfectly to the Switch is Shovel Knight Treasure Trove. Now, this collects everything, including Plague Knight and Spectre Knight and King Knight, all of the extra campaign material, as well as the classic Shovel Knight experience that started the craze, that made Yacht Club Games not quite a household name, but certainly they deserve to be, because Shovel Knight is a fantastic character. I was so psyched that I was able to convince one of my buddies at Nintendo to send me a Shovel Knight amiibo. I'm not amiibo obsessed, but I was certainly obsessed with the idea of picking up Shovel Knight, because ever since that first game came out and I was first introduced to it on the 3DS, I have just fallen in love with this now franchise, and I'm so appreciative of all the extra effort that Yacht Club has put into tuning and adding to and polishing and giving players tremendous value in this experience. It's a lot like a Mega Man experience, but fused with a cool RPG light overstory with a sense of humor and a sense of reverence for the past and an awareness. And it's just really tight, really clever design. You'll fail a lot in this game, you'll die a lot, but you will never blame the game. You will always come back to it thinking, I can do better next time, which is the sign of great game design. Love this experience. same kind of ideas and core gameplay conceits in Cave Story Plus, which is a game that's been around for a long-ass time now, also delivered on lots of platforms like the aforementioned 3DS. This is from Nicholas, and it started life as just, you know, a freeware PC game from I think just a one-person development team out of Japan, and then our friends at Nicholas convinced the people over there that they need to bring this game onto many more platforms, and that's precisely what Cave Story has been able to do. This, I think, is the definitive version of it. It has all kinds of enhanced graphics and music, and, you know, it's a really cool little quirky story of this little character that meets this race of bunny rabbits, humanoid type characters, and they've got this whole mystery to solve, and it's very you know, bendy, twisty kind of, it plays with your mind a little bit, but you're, you know, running around, as the title suggests, in caves and finding secrets and unlocking things and gaining new abilities and accessing new stuff. Standard kind of 2D exploration game design, but really tuned, really polished, really slick. And Nicholas was kind enough to send me one of the hard-to-find collector's editions out there that comes with a little mini soundtrack and a keychain and everything. It is now a prized possession in Vic's basement, so thank you for that, Nicholas. Wonderful game, Cave Story Plus, on the Switch, definitely worth your investment. It is a bit of an investment, though. It is a little bit of a pricey experience, but I think this is really tailored to the collectors out there and the aficionados for game design like this, and also the story of Cave Story Plus. I think that it collects a lot of that, you know, that luster and that a lot of that positive energy to get this game to us, and it's perfectly at home on this console. Another game, which is also pricey, but also perfectly tuned for the Nintendo Switch, is Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Now, this is kind of the greatest hits of the Binding of Isaac, which has also been on tons of other platforms out there over the years. This is Edmund Macmillan's opus. It's very personal. It's very psychologically twisted. It's not meant for little kids. It's almost, you know, you're playing through childhood nightmares, and you're, you know, dealing with heavy stuff, and you're blasting at awful enemies, and, you know, digging through literal piles of crap, and unlocking all kinds of extra armaments and stuff. It plays a little bit like a Eugene Jarvis classic like Smash TV, fused with some roguelike type elements and RPG type elements, and so you're constantly unlocking all kinds of goodies and giving yourself lots and lots of weaponry that's very interesting and not normal at all, not like you've seen in other shooters out there, and you face bosses and creatures like you've never seen before. And the cool thing about this is that there's a lot of procedurally generated, you know, randomly generated kind of content in here, so it's never the same experience. There are daily grinds and all kinds of extra rewards for going back to the experience and progressing as far as you can. You can beat the game, but then you can go back and challenge yourself to beat it again and speed run through it. And, you know, I know lots of streamers out there have made almost a career out of just streaming this one game. Northern Lion comes to mind, and this is a sensational title. It's kind of timeless. It's definitely an indie classic at this point, and it is a perfect fit for the Nintendo Switch, whether you're playing it in portable or you got it up on the big screen. And the last game that I want to talk about is Snake Pass, which is a retro game, but in a different style. It's not one of those old 2D games out there. This is a retro game that evokes a lot of the stuff that was out on the N64 from Rare. It was developed by Sumo Digital, and you play a snake, as the title implies, and it's got a very slow, methodical mechanic to it, because obviously snakes aren't about running and jumping and leaping like most of our 3D platformers are out there. So you slither and you slide and you coil yourself around all kinds of you know, poles and objects and things like that. You still have to collect a lot of gems and jewels and sort of life essence and things. It is an absolute Rare style collectathon, but it just takes a little bit more time and a little more patience, and sometimes, you know, twisting around and pressing the trigger buttons to hug the items in the playing areas tightly so that you don't fall to your death becomes a little bit frustrating, and it certainly does take a little bit of patience to just kind of bear with the experience. But it's really well made, and it's a really lovely looking game, and I love the interplay between the snake and the little bird that picks picks up the snake whenever he does drop, or you can call for some aid and assistance. You know, I like the looks of the environments and stuff. It's soothing. Once you kind of zen out and get used to the slower pace of this experience, it's actually worth your time. And, you know, I'm a big fan of Snake Pass. Now, there are tons of other big games headed to the Switch this year, but, you know, I definitely do want lots of other developers and publishers to come out there. I also have to give a slight hat tip to our friends at SNK who have proliferated the eShop with all of their classic Neo Geo games, and they do entice me. I definitely do want to add them all, and they sort of underline the necessity for Nintendo to get with it and to start delivering some of their old classic NES and SNES and N64 and GameCube stuff to the machine, because that retro stuff is just going to play so well on the Switch. And that Neo Geo stuff, the only one that I bought is Samurai Showdown 4. I've hovered over Samurai Showdown 1, but I haven't picked it up, and along with some of the other Neo Geo titles in there, because I just feel like SNK should collect them all and give us all of these fantastic games at a very good price. I'm suggesting, you know, 10 games for 20 bucks or something like that. Come on, SNK, you got to do the right thing and give us all of those classics. We'll pick up a whole bunch more of them if you do, and we'll play a whole bunch more of them if you do, because 10 bucks in Canada for one of those old classic games is just too expensive for me. It's just too pricey. But, you know, I am definitely looking forward to what the Switch has to offer in the back half of 2017. It does feel like more and more game companies are waking up to the opportunities here on this platform, but so far, pretty decent spell. There's been lots and lots of great entertainment already for the Nintendo Switch. So there you go, 5 more retro-style games that I fully recommend for you to pick up for your Switch. Talking Shovel Knight, Treasure Trove, Cave Story Plus, Snake Pass, Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, and Blaster Master Zero. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned right here. We're going to have a lot more Switch coverage over the coming months.